Good afternoon, this is Boy Gray speaking to you from the Maria Heritage Centre in Donegal, and this is the second of the two updates that we're doing on the 10 workshops that we did back in 2013, which we put online at the Maria Heritage Centre in order to try and help you with your research of family history in Ireland. You will find all of these workshops, the 10 original ones and the 2 updates, at the Maria Heritage Centre website. If you just Google Maria Heritage Centre, you will come up with this page, Maria Heritage Centre, and if you go down to the bottom and click on there, you will get all 10 workshops and the 2 updates. Also, in order to help you, I have put a series of about 40 links to the most useful genealogy websites that you will need for researching in Ireland on my Facebook page. So if you just Google Facebook West Ulster Genealogy, I'll go back a little bit, you come up with this Facebook page. This one, West Ulster Genealogy, and if you click on to More, Notes, and choose the one that says Links and click onto it, and there are all of those links. You can see, for example, the ones that we used last time is the 1901 census at the National Archives, asked about Ireland's the Griffiths valuation. Griffiths valuation revision books are on here somewhere as well, but the ones we're going to use today are all to do with births, marriages and deaths. And that's them, Roots Ireland, Family Search, and that's actually the General Registry Office of Northern Ireland at NI Direct. I already have these called up, so I shan't click them on here now. Let me remind you what we discovered last time. We were looking for the Gallaghers of Bali, and we found 6 Gallagher families in Bali in the Griffiths valuation of 1858. We then moved forward and found only one Gallagher family still living in Bali in 1901. I tell a little lie, there was also a Sarah Gallagher living on her own as well as this Sarah Gallagher, but let's ignore her for the time being. We wanted to see the connection between this family of Sarah, James and his brother Patrick with the Gallaghers back in the Griffiths valuation, and we discovered that Sarah was indeed very probably was the wife of Patrick Gallagher, who died in 1889, and she was still there in the Griffiths valuation revision books up until 1903. She disappeared in 1903. So we know she's here in 1901, she disappears in 1903. We want to search for her and her family now. Before we do that, we really ought to go on and look for the Gallaghers in the 1911 census. And in the 1911 census, if you put in Gallagher, this is all the Gallaghers that there are in Bali, these 6 people here, and click on any one of them, and you can see there they are, they're all one family. James is now the head of the household. He's married to an Ellen. Click on here, it shows all information. He's married to an Ellen, he's got 1, 2, 3 children, plus his brother is still living with him, but Sarah has gone, and that's what we expected because she disappeared out of Griffiths valuation revision books in 1903. We can also look at this because unlike the 1901 census, if we pull it over to the right hand side, having clicked that checkbox, pull it over to the right hand side, we can see that they were married for 8 years by this stage, so we should expect to find them getting married about 1903. They had 4 children born by 1911, 3 of whom were still alive. So we can use that information as well. Websites we're going to use are, clicking them on here, first one is the Mormon website, Family Search. There it is there. Click search, and we can start searching the records. While it's thinking about that, we can go on to the second one that we're going to use for researching our births, marriages and deaths, and that is Roots Ireland, which abbreviates as IFHF because it is in fact the Irish Family History Foundation. Clicking onto it, and it should come up as well. I'm actually already in it, so I'm going to start searching. You would need to sign into this. I'll explain a bit more about it in a moment. And the third one is the General Registry Office of Northern Ireland website, which is at NI, Northern Ireland Direct. If you put that in, Grony NI Direct, there it is there, order certificates. So that's the three that we're going to use. Now, previously, whenever I did the first set of workshops, I talked about what you need to know about births, marriages and deaths. And I said that church records were very thin on the ground and that they were not online. You have to go to the churches really to see them. There are very few church records online. So what we're using is civil records. Civil records began in 1864 for all births, marriages and deaths, except for 1845, Protestant marriages began then. You also need to know what you can expect to find in any of these births, marriages and deaths, because, for example, no Irish marriage certificate has the name of the mother on it. And if you search any of these databases and put in the mother's name, you won't find anything, because you'll be putting wrong information into the database and it'll say that it doesn't have that record. So you need to know what you're looking for, so you need to go back to those other workshops and watch them very closely. Back in 2013 we used different websites to research births, marriages and deaths. We used Emerald Ancestors. It isn't used as much. I don't use it very much anymore at all. We use Roots Ireland, and we still use Roots Ireland. In fact, it has become the most important website, but it has changed its marketing model. Previously, you bought the records one by one. Now you have to take a subscription, but you can take a subscription for as little as 1 month, and it costs £20, whatever that is in dollars and euros. And for that, you can look up as many records as you like. You can look up 1,000 records. So it's very, very good value for money. Also, since 2013, Northern Ireland has put the General Registry Office of Northern Ireland has put all of their civil births, marriages and deaths online, so you can use it as well. And you do need to use all three for reasons that I hope will become obvious. I have all three of them here now ready to use. First one is Family Search, and that's the Mormon one. Well, what are we going to look for? Do you remember that we said that Sarah Gallagher died, passed away, or seemed to pass away? She was gone out of the Griffiths Valuation Revision books by 1903. She's in the 1901 census and she's not in the 1911 census. So we can put her name in here into Family Search. The big advantage of the Family Search website is that it's not spelling sensitive. All the others are. You spell Sarah wrong, spell Gallagher wrong, spell Bally wrong, anything like that, you get nothing out of it. So the Family Search one, you can put almost any spelling of the name and it will give you up results. However, it does not have the records as such. It only has the index to the records. So it in itself is not enough, but it's always a good starting point. How do you use it? Just put Sarah Gallagher in to begin with. Don't worry about anything else. Click Search. And it will pull up all the Sarah Gallaghers that it has in its database for any reason whatsoever. Births, marriages, deaths, anything else that they have, including the censuses and including the American censuses, which is why it's taking it a little while to do it. 137,000 Sarah Gallaghers. Well, that's not much help to us. We can refine the search, however, using this series of blue limiters, they're called. Or there's another set of limiters down here, the black ones, and I always use the black ones. So I'm looking for Sarah Gallagher, death place, click on it, choose United Kingdom and Ireland, let it filter them out. While it's thinking about it, I'll go down here again, and then you click on United Kingdom and Ireland and choose Ireland. It filters them down. Now notice that we're down to 510, whenever it comes up, yeah, 510. We want to limit it even further, and we could choose County Tyrone because that's where we're looking at. But if you choose County Tyrone, you won't get all of the deaths. The County Tyrone is just those records that mention County Tyrone in them, and the civil records of deaths don't mention County Tyrone. It divides them up into registration districts. That's where you would have gone to register the death, and for the people living in Bali, the place they went to register the deaths was the town of Strabane, which is about 2 to 3 miles away. That's where they would have went. So therefore you have to look up the Sarah Gallaghers whose death would be registered in Strabane, and there they are. There's actually 31 of them. Okay, well, that's rather a lot, 31. All of them, all dying in Strabane. We can begin to look and say, well, she died after 1901 and before 1911. There's one in 1907, 1918, 1919, 1873 is too early. So it really ought to be probably, there's no others between 1901 and 1911. It really ought to be this one, but I can tell you it's not. For some reason or other, that's actually not it, because I've looked it up before. We wouldn't know that, because if you click on for details here, it doesn't give you any more details at all other than what's in the index. That's the index, that's all there is, doesn't tell you anything. So what about having a look at Roots Ireland to see what it tells you? Well, clicking on to deaths, we can search for, let me clear that from a previous search, let me clear that out. We can search for Gallagher, G-A-L-L-A-G-H-E-R, Sarah, and say R-A-H, and we know that she died between 1901 and 1911, so if I put 1906 in there, plus or minus 5 years, and we know that the death is going to be registered in Strabane, County Tyrone. And what does it give us? None, right? It says there are none. This is just a feeling of Roots Ireland. It's a very, very good website, but I've noticed from using it over this past few months that it seems to have a shortage of deaths in particular. Why they're not there, I have no idea. So let's try the third one. Moving on to the third one. This is why you have to use all three, and all three have their value. Going into the Groney one now. And we're going to click on searching for a death registration. Not for a death certificate, but you'll end up paying £20 for a certificate. We just want to look for the death registration. Clicking on there. This one is very spelling sensitive, so it wouldn't be the first port of call, but since we didn't find it in Family Search and we didn't find it in Roots Ireland, we've got to look here. G-A-L-L-A-G-H-E-R. Her name is Sarah, S-A-R-A-H. We don't need to worry about the sex. We know that she died sometime between 1901 and 1911. So if we put 1901 in here, it's a peculiarity of this database that it will only allow you to search 5 years at a time. So what's 5 years from 1901? 1905. Yes, it is. If you think that's only 4 years, it's not. That's 1901, 1902, 1903, 1904, 1905. 5 years. So searching it. Oh, and we can also put in registration district of Strabane. Strabane there is there. Searching. 2 records come up. And one of them is a 71-year-old dying in 1901. And another one is a 1-year-old. Well, clearly it's not the 1-year-old, so we're sort of hoping it's this one. Just let me show you, going back to here, Roots Ireland told us it didn't have any. It really ought to have. Why it doesn't have them, I have no idea. And Family Search didn't even have it either. It only had this one dying in 1907. This actually is it. I have searched this before, and I know what the Sarah we're looking for is this one here. And I can show you a photograph of the death certificate. There it is there. Sarah Gallagher, died in Bali, widow. So we know her husband died before. Well, he did, remember? Patrick died in he disappeared from the Griffiths Valuation Revision books in 1889. So that fits as well. Farmer's widow, died of bronchitis. James Gallagher was present at the death, and he was her son, and he lived in Bali. we know that's true. So we know this is the woman we're looking for. She wasn't crossed out of the Griffiths Valuation Revision books until 1903, when she actually died in the 17th of June 1901. Well, you know, you've got to be realistic about this. We're talking 100 and more years ago. It's a little office in the middle of the country somewhere, and people don't get in and out of the town very much, so it maybe took them a couple of years before somebody actually realised in the office that Sarah Gallagher was no longer paying the rates. It was her son James, because she'd passed away a couple of years before. But when they make the change, they always make it from the point at which they find out, not the point at which somebody died. So you need to realise that the Griffiths Valuation Revision books changes are only approximate. Here she is, dying in 1901. Just let me go back to where we found this. There it is there. That was her in 1901. We can now look at the certificate by clicking on either Enhanced, Full or Order Certificate. Enhanced doesn't enhance very much at all, it gives you hardly any extra information. Order certificate will cost you a vast amount of money, well I say about £12 I think, and they will have to send it to you. The one you want to click on is Full. I'm not going to click it because every time you click this, even though you clicked it before, they will charge you another £2, because that's what it costs to get this record. It's £2. There's no way around this. If you want to know the information from this certificate at Groney, you're going to have to pay £2 for each of them, but you don't want to be paying for it unless you know it's yours. That's why you need to use the others as well. But in this case, I would have to take the chance that this was her, and it was. When you click onto it, it gives you, that's a screenshot. You can see where I did this before. It's a screenshot of where I got the certificate. And the reason why it's a screenshot is because if you try and copy and paste that information from the Groney website, it won't let you do it. And if you try and right-click, copy and paste this photograph of the actual death record, it won't let you do it. It just won't let you take the records that you paid for. I think it's very naughty of them. They shouldn't do it. Not only is it a bit naughty, it's also stupid, because, if I can just take the camera down here, if you put your finger on the print screen button on your computer, just press print screen, right, and then go to your programs, you will find that in your programs, it's probably under accessories somewhere, down here under accessories, there's a program called Paint. There it is there, and if you click on Paint, it opens up. And if you click paste in there, click paste, you will get a copy of whatever you took the screenshot of. So that's where I got this screenshot here. So I don't have to pay £2 every time I want to look at it. Very important little tip, that. So that's how we have used the 3 databases of births, marriages and deaths in order to link up the Griffiths valuation with the 1901 census and to see what happened to people. But these 3 databases will give you an awful lot more information than that if you use them correctly.